My belief is that when you grow up in an alcoholic family, as I did, or an incest family, or a violent family, or an emotionally shaming family, and I think people like Dan Siegel and many of the people who are working on the neuroscience of the brain are showing that when you're chronically shamed, actually parts of the brain are being pruned because you have to defend yourself. You have to develop defenses, and that part of what's being pruned, and I can't remember the exact brain terms, but it is definitely a part that causes dysthymia, or a kind of a chronic depression. And I didn't realize, because I was a hero star child, that deep within me there was always this loneliness and kind of chronic depression, and it wouldn't come out like it came out when I studied to be a Catholic priest and I was in the seminary and I spent a lot of time alone. It would come out, and I would have these periods of just, not wanting to get up in the morning, and if I didn't have an audience, because I had the narcissistic kind of wound of just feeling like my life was useless, because I had a lot of what I call toxic shame, which is the feeling that you're flawed and defective. So I guarded a lot, lest I ever be unguarded. And it was only in recovery that I began to come out of that. And even coming out of it, like when I had my quadruple bypass, I went back into a period of it, clearly clinical depression, where I used some medication for the very first time. And that's when I really understood this thing about the thalamus, or whatever it is, that gets pruned away early on. Because I remember taking, I can't remember what one of the good antidepressants, and I'd be driving along and singing songs from my childhood, or recite "Blessing on thee, little man, barefoot boy with cheek of tan." I think, where's that coming from? And it was like those chemicals were reinforcing the dopamine neurotransmitter, and they were literally, and I think in time we will get more and more very specific drugs to help some people. Now, I didn't want to stay on that, for the rest of my life or anything like that. It allowed me to kind of get through a period of time after that quadruple bypass where I could really decide what my calling and my destiny were and what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So that was very important. But I came to realize during that period that all through my life I had had that sort of chronic low-grade depression, which I think a lot of children of alcoholics, children of sex addicts, children of gambling addicts, children coming out of bipolar families, children where their parents have post-traumatic stress disorder, that you just can't fully develop that, because in a sense you're not, when you have parents who are wounded, Carl Jung once said the most damaging thing to any child is the unlived life of the parents. When you have unlived life parents who have disappointed lives, there's often not a generation gap in the family, because their relationship gets defunct, their intimacy is defunct, and so they turn to the children. And then you have these triangles where the children are sucked into the marriage. And I think that causes a lot of low-grade chronic depression. So the recovery process, I won't say that I never have a day that I don't wake up and might have that feeling, because I'm actually convinced that this stuff is multi-generational, that I could be feeling old great Uncle Joe's unresolved pain, but it doesn't last very long. I know what to do. I know how to network, call my network of friends. In other words, it teaches us how to manage our lives.